The another topic we are going to cover here is privacy by design. So this is a new addition to the CBK, which is going to come up, right? Let's try to understand this entire privacy by design principle. So this entire privacy by design principle is focused on some basic fundamental principles. We can say seven fundamental principles. First one is proactive and not reactive, or we can say preventive, not remedial. So, which says that um, we have to actually anticipate any kind of challenges from the privacy perspective when we are designing a particular system, when we are architecturing a particular system. Okay, so we have to be proactive. It should not happen that you designed a particular system and then when you designed, then you are thinking about privacy. It's not going to help. Privacy again is not something which you can retrofit. You have to actually integrate privacy from the very initial phase. Okay, and you have to think on all the use cases which are applicable for a particular system you are going to design. So you have to think, okay, my particular system is going to handle PII. So in that case, you have to think in from the initial perspective how we are going to handle PII. For example, your software might be dealing with credit card information. Then how we make sure that all that necessary encryption and hashing and those kind of controls are being implemented. Okay, so you have to be proactive in your approach rather than reactive. Then next one is privacy as the default setting. So this means then when a particular software is ready and you are going to move that into production, generally every software has some default setting which comes from the manufacturer, right? So you have to release that particular software with a default privacy setting. Okay, that means what kind of control you can think in. First and foremost, if your software is collecting some information from the end user related something related to privacy, right, then you have to think about what is the purpose of that particular collection of that information. You have to consent user. You have to tell the user that this is the information we are going to collect, this is the purpose for which we are collecting the information, and this is what is required by us. You should not exceed and take each and every information from the user. Take only that information which is required for you to help the user. Okay, that is what we call it as collection limitation. Then try to minimize data as much as possible to be collected from the end user. Okay, and then once you collect that particular information, you need to also have controls wherein you are able to uh, not share it with somebody who is not supposed to have it, right? You have to use the information, you have to share the information as per the purpose which you have specified. So all your default setting of your software should be having those settings inbuilt. Then privacy embedded into design. What does this mean? This means that first and foremost, for example, today you are going to develop a particular application and then you are concerned about privacy. So the first thing you are going to do is try to carry out a risk assessment. Then in your risk assessment, think about all those risk areas, all those risk scenarios which can go wrong with the personal information which your software is collecting. And based on that, design all the controls and embed those controls from the design phase itself into your software. So that is what we mean by privacy embedded into design. Next is full functionality, positive sum, not zero sum. Now, this seems quite a mouthful, right? What does this mean? That means in some cases, there will be a unnecessary trade off between privacy and system functionality. If you implement privacy, then some functionality may get impaired, right? And that is not a good situation, isn't it? So the thing is, the end focus in this particular principle is that you have to design the software in such a way that the end functionality also is not getting disturbed, and at the same time privacy is also taken care of. Okay, you have to create a situation, you have to think of a solution which is a win-win between the two, and just not unduly compromise on privacy part. Okay, just because you want this functionality, do a right evaluation and then go for it. So that's the thing which we mean to say here. Next principle is end-to-end security. That means full life cycle protection. And I think this is quite simple. We know information has its own life cycle. It is created, it is stored, it is used, it is shared, then it is retained, and then finally it is destructed. You know, these are the phases of any information. And same goes with your privacy information as well. Okay. So the idea here is that the security controls what you are implementing on your personal information should actually be shadowing your entire life cycle of the particular information. You have to think of security controls uh, aligned all the time until the data is existing. Okay, you have to think from that perspective. Next is visibility and transparency. That means keep it open. You have to design a particular software in such a way that your privacy policy is very open and transparent to the user. Okay, they are very clear how you are going to actually handle their information. Okay, that thing should be integrated into your software or your system, whatever you are designing. Okay, then respect for user privacy and keep it user centric. Do not kind of expose somebody's information uh, only because it is there with you. Okay, so keep it user centric, take proper consent from the user, maintain the accuracy of the personal information, uh, implement access control so that unauthorized users are thwarted when they try to access this particular information, and always be compliant with all legal regulations all the time. Okay, so guys, this is entirely these seven principles, they go and form privacy by design principle. Okay, so it's just not security by design, it is now also privacy by design. You have to think in from security perspective and also think in with privacy as your front runner in that particular case.